In the summer of January 2014, the West Australian Shark Cull was a strategy that was introduced by the WA government. This was in an attempt to reduce the increasing number of shark attacks which were occurring on the West Australian coast between the years 2010 and 2014. The strategy involved the use of baited drumlines across popular beach destinations on the WA coast, mainly targeting great white, bull and tiger sharks. Those which were caught in the drumlines, measuring over 3 metres in length, were then ordered to be shot and killed. So the research question I based my investigation around was whether this was the most effective means and way of reducing shark attacks on the coast. And in terms of measuring the effectiveness, not only looked at the amount of shark attacks or the number of shark attacks which occurred after the implementation of the strategy, but also the consequences that happened due to the implementation of the strategy in terms of the sustainability of marine life and shark life on the coast due to the drumlines and the consequences this could have on our environment. And also whether this strategy was more of a short-term strategy or whether it could be long-term and overall reduce the threat of shark attacks happening on the coast long-term or just short-term. So what did I learn from my research on the Shark Cull? Well, the strategy was technically effective and would work in a way, in the sense that theoretically, the less number of sharks we have on our coast, the less likely shark attacks are going to happen. Although this doesn't really guarantee that future shark attacks won't happen, but it will definitely reduce the probability that these shark attacks will happen on our coast, which is effectively what we were after. Although we could only really see this as a short-term solution to the problem, because when you think about it, we couldn't really run this sort of strategy long-term. So over the space of 4 months between January and April when the trial was run, a total of 163 sharks were caught, with 68 of these sharks being killed. And if we kept on running this for another couple of years, eventually we'll have numbers of shark species which will begin to go endangered and eventually extinct, and then we have a totally new problem on our hands. So the Shark Cull was actually negatively received by the WA public, and the reasons for this was due to the morality aspect of the cull, and the fact that it wasn't justifiable to kill sharks due to a problem that we created as humans through our own actions. And this was shown when West Australians actively spoke out against the Shark Cull through petitions and strikes on beaches. Now, why should we care about sharks on our coast and the population of sharks and what we do to them? Well, we use the coast and the water for our own leisure during summer. So it's only important that as much as we use it, we look after and respect it. And in saying that, we have to look after and respect those animals which thrive in that marine ecosystem, being sharks. So what would be the more effective, justifiable long-term solution? Well, the only real way we're going to stop shark attacks from ever happening again is by humans to stop going into the water. And this isn't going to happen. So all we can really do is look at what we can do in our behaviours that can reduce the risk of shark attacks happening on our coast. And from this we could reevaluate what we do, certain activities which encourage shark attacks to happen, and look at ways that we can change this to cater for less shark attacks happening in the future. So what can we do as humans to help cater for this? Well, we could actively donate to shark research and technology, which are still going on today. And from that, we can always raise awareness of sharks and their behaviours, as well as understanding why they attack us and why these shark attacks are happening. And the more awareness we have in the public, the more likely people will understand when it's smart to go into the water during shark-prone seasons, as well as have an understanding that it's not their fault that they're attacking us. It's our fault that we're putting ourselves at risk.